Hello students, myself Ritu Bhardwaj, TDT Science, Kendriya Vidyalaya Punjab Lines, Meerut Kent. Students, today we are going to study a very important chapter of class 8 Science, chapter 9, Reproduction in Animals. Now first of all, we should know that what is the need for reproduction? Why is it necessary? Students, reproduction is essential for the continuation of a species. Though the process of reproduction is not essential for the survival of an individual, like the other life processes of digestion, circulation, respiration, etc. Yet, it is a very important process as it ensures the continuation of similar kinds of individuals generation after generation. So, from this slide, we come to know that the individuals survive by these important life processes like digestion, circulation, etc. But their whole species, their whole generation can survive only through reproduction. So, this is the need for reproduction, the survival of the whole species. Now, we are able to define reproduction as the process by which new individuals of the same species are produced. So, we can also say that reproduction is important for the continuation of similar kinds of individuals for generations. Now we study about the different modes of reproduction. Students, there are two modes of reproduction. They are first, sexual reproduction. The type of reproduction which involves the fusion of male and female gametes is called sexual reproduction. A male gamete fuses with a female gamete to form a zygote which later develops into a new individual. In sexual reproduction, two parents are needed to produce new individuals. The second mode of reproduction is asexual reproduction. The type of reproduction in which new individuals are produced from a single parent is called asexual reproduction. Both the parents are not needed here, only a single parent is able to produce new individuals of its own kind. Now we'll study sexual reproduction in detail. In sexual reproduction, the male and female reproductive organs are involved. As we have studied in class 7, reproduction in plants, the male and female reproductive organs are present in plants also. Similarly, in animals also, the male and female reproductive organs are present which are involved in sexual reproduction. So first of all, let's study about the male reproductive organs. The male reproductive organs in humans consist of a pair of testes, two sperm ducts and a penis. The testes produce millions of male gametes called sperms. Each sperm is a single cell having a head, a middle piece and a tail. Now here is the picture showing the male reproductive organs in humans. You can see in this picture, these are two sperm ducts, that means a pair of sperm duct, penis, and these are the testes, that means a pair of testes. So this is the picture of male reproductive organs in humans. In the second diagram, you can see the structure of human sperm. Just now as you studied in the slide, it is composed of three main parts: head portion, middle piece and tail. The tail helps in traveling the sperm to reach up to the ovum. Now we'll study about the female reproductive organs. The female reproductive organs consist of a pair of ovaries, a pair of oviducts which are also called fallopian tubes, and uterus. The ovary produces the female gametes called ova, or we can also say them eggs. A single egg is produced by the ovary every month. Like sperm, the egg is also a single cell. Now in this diagram, you can see the female reproductive organs in humans. These are the oviducts, that means a pair of oviduct. Then these are the ovaries, that means a pair of ovary, and this is the uterus. So these comprise the main female reproductive organs in humans. Now let's see the diagram of human ovum or egg. The human ovum or egg appears like this. This is the nucleus in it. Now the main process of reproduction, that is fertilization, which is the beginning of the forming of a new individual. Through this process, the new individuals are formed. The fusion of the sperm and ovum or egg is called fertilization. So what is fertilization? The process of fusion of sperm and ovum. The fertilized egg is called zygote. The fertilized egg, that means zygote, then develops into a new individual. Since the sperm from the father fuses with the egg from the mother, the new individual inherits some characters from the father and some from the mother. As you can see, you yourself also and your siblings also, that you might have inherited some characters of your father, and maybe your sibling must have inherited some characters of mother. So any individual can inherit the characters of either one of the parent or both of them. In this diagram, you can see the process of fertilization. For the process of fertilization, the sperms are reaching the ovum. Many sperms, millions of sperms are released, and only here you can see one is able to fuse with the ovum. So in fertilization process, sperms try to reach to the ovum, and some of them are successful in reaching and fusing. In this picture you can see the zygote in which the two nuclei are fusing. Now in these diagrams you can see in the first diagram zygote formation and embryo development. Here you can see in this picture, after ovulation, here you can see the zygote, and zygote is repeatedly dividing. Zygote divides repeatedly, like in this picture you can see, and then in the uterus it develops into an embryo. In the second picture you can see this is the embryo, which is a ball of cells. An embryo is a ball of cells, like this. In the third picture you can see embedding of the embryo in the uterus. The embryo gets embedded in the wall of the uterus. This is the uterus wall, and then it develops. This is the developing embryo. Now we study about the types of fertilization. Fertilization is of two types. They are first, internal fertilization. The fertilization which takes place inside the female body is called internal fertilization. It occurs in many animals including human beings, cows, dogs, hens, etc. The second type of fertilization is external fertilization. The fertilization which takes place outside the female body is called external fertilization. It is very common in aquatic animals like frogs, fishes, starfish, etc. In these animals, fertilization takes place in water. The females lay hundreds of eggs and males release millions of sperms in water. Why does this happen? Because the conditions they face are very adverse. Females lay hundreds of eggs, but they may get destroyed by the wind, by the water, streams and the rainfall, etc. And the predators also live in the water, which may feed on them, eat them. So it is necessary that the females lay hundreds of eggs and males release millions of sperms so that at least few of them get fertilized. Then each sperm swims randomly in water with the help of its long tail and comes in contact with the eggs, resulting in fertilization. So in this way, the external fertilization occurs in water by the fusion of the sperm and the eggs in water. Now, how do the embryo develop? We'll study about development of embryo. After fertilization, the fertilized egg or zygote divides repeatedly to form a group of cells called embryo. The embryo then attaches to the wall of the uterus, and then in the uterus it gradually develops the body parts like hands, legs, head, eyes, ears, etc. The stage of the embryo in which all the body parts can be identified is called a fetus. In this diagram, you can see the fetus which is in the uterus, and all the body parts here can be identified. So this is that stage of the embryo in which the body parts can be identified. When the development of the fetus is complete, the mother gives birth to the baby. In animals undergoing external fertilization, development of the embryo takes place within their egg coverings outside the female body. Fusion has taken place outside the female body, and now development of the embryo also takes place in the egg coverings outside the female body. After the embryos develop, the eggs hatch. Now we'll study about viviparous and oviparous animals. You know that some animals give birth to young ones, while some animals lay eggs, which later develop into young ones. On the basis of this characteristic, animals are classified into two types. First, viviparous animals. The animals which give birth to their young ones are called viviparous animals, like humans, dog, cow, cat, etc. While the oviparous animals, which is the second type of animals, are the animals which lay eggs, and the examples of oviparous animals are frog, fish, butterfly, lizard, etc. Now, how do the young ones become adults? The new individuals which are born or hatched from the eggs continue to grow till they become adults. In some animals, the young ones may look very different from the adults, and they transform into adults through drastic changes. You can't recognize them in their young stage that these are the same species. Now this process of transformation of the larva into an adult through drastic changes is called metamorphosis. They undergo drastic changes for transforming themselves from the larva form into their adult form, and this is known as metamorphosis. Examples of such animals are silkworm. Life cycle of silkworm consists of such stages in which the larva can be identified as the adult. They are totally different. The caterpillar or the pupa of silkworm looks very different from the adult moth. Similarly, in the second example, we can take frog. In the life cycle of frog, you can see that the tadpoles or larva of frog are very different from the adult frog. Now here we will see the life cycle of silkworm. The stages in the life cycle of silkworm are egg, then it is transformed into larva, caterpillar, then into pupa, and then into adult. Now in this picture you will see the various stages of the life cycle of silkworm. First of all, you can see here it is the adult female silk moth. In the second stage you see the female silk moth with eggs. These are the eggs of female silk moth. In this picture you can clearly see the eggs, and where are they? They are on mulberry leaves. Then here you can see the caterpillar, the larva of silk moth, which hatched from the eggs. Then here you can see in the next picture pupa or cocoon. This is the next stage in the life cycle of silkworm. And here you can see clearly cocoon with developing moth, and then it develops into the again silk moth, an adult silk moth. So you can see what transformation is going on in this, and this is metamorphosis. Now in the next slide we will see the next example, which is of life cycle of frog. The stages in the life cycle of frog are again first stages of egg, then larva, which is called tadpole. Larva of frog is called tadpole, and then it transforms into adult frog. You can see here the life cycle of frog. The eggs then hatch into tadpole, and these are the two stages of tadpole, early tadpole and late tadpole. But just see how much different are they from the adult frog. Do they look like frog? Not at all. See this adult frog. Okay, so this is the life cycle of frog, and this process is called metamorphosis, transformation of the young ones into adult through drastic changes. Okay, now we'll study about asexual reproduction. This is our second mode of reproduction. The type of reproduction in which new individuals are produced from a single parent is called asexual reproduction. As you studied in sexual reproduction, two parents are needed. Here only one parent is needed. And no fusion of gametes occurs here because only a single parent is needed here. Some very small animals like hydra and microscopic organisms like amoeba reproduce by different methods of asexual reproduction like budding, binary fission, etc. Let's study about the first process, first type of asexual reproduction, budding. In this method, a small bulge, or we can also say bud, develops from the body. The bud then grows and develops into a new individual. So what is bud? It is a type of outgrowth coming out of the parent body. This type of asexual reproduction in which new individuals develop from the buds is called budding. For example, hydra, yeast, etc. You can see in this picture budding in hydra. This is hydra, it's the parent, and see here a small outgrowth, or you can say a bulge or a bud is coming out of hydra's body. Then this outgrowth slowly, gradually develops into a new individual, and when it gets mature, it just gets detached from it. It gets detached from the parent body, and so two hydras will get there. So this is the budding in hydra type of asexual reproduction. The next type of asexual reproduction is binary fission. In this method, the nucleus first divides and forms two nuclei. Then the cytoplasm also divides into two parts and forms two daughter cells. This type of asexual reproduction, in which an animal reproduces by dividing into two individuals, is called binary fission. The examples of binary fission are amoeba, paramecium, etc. We will see in this picture here the diagram of binary fission in amoeba. See here, two nucleus are being formed. This is the dividing nucleus being formed into two separate nuclei, and then cytoplasm is also dividing into two parts, and these are then converted into two daughter cells, or we can say one amoeba is forming now two daughter amoeba. So this is the process of binary fission in amoeba. I hoped you liked all the study material in this video lesson and you understood all the main concepts about reproduction in animals. Thanks.